Hey there guys, welcome back to Calico Cow Acres. Today we're going to do the last garden tour of the season. It's going to be our end of October garden tour. And there's some things left in the garden, but we are heavily approaching the frost. It is going to happen any day. We've had some light frosts already, and I just want to document what October looks like in our garden this year before everything dies off and gets too crispy. If you're new to our channel, we are in Zone 8A. I lean towards 7B. We just changed last year, and we're in Western North Carolina in the foothills. I have a whole bunch of other previous garden tour videos in a playlist if you want to go check those out, but this is what's left. We have runner ducks, so if you hear quacking in the background, that is them. They are following me around right now. But I wanted to do a little update on not only our garden situation right now, but also the status of our orchard and our berry plants. As much detail as I can give you today, and Taylor's gonna help me with that once I go down to the orchard. I assume this is already gonna be a long video, so let's get right into it. All right, I'm walking down to the bottom of our garden. We have our big arch down here that's actually growing something still. This is loofah. For some reason, it produced a ton of flowers, but no actual loofah plants this year. I'm not sure why. I think this one was from Snag SEEDS, so maybe just something went wrong with that, but I actually don't love the super ridged loofah that these seeds produce anyway, so I think I'm gonna buy some seeds and get the smoother edged ones for next year. I just love how it looks on the trellis. When it's peak season, it's like lush and green, it takes everything over and it looks really cool. So even though it didn't produce anything, I'm kind of cool with that. It's still added to the magic of the garden. Then these beds were zinnias. You can see they've pretty much tapered off at this point. We haven't had any rain in a long time. We haven't had much rain this summer at all, honestly. So everything's pretty crispy and about done. I'm gonna be coming out here in a few days and harvesting all of the things that I possibly can before the frost hits. And I'm gonna save a bunch of zinnia seeds. I have gomphrena, dahlias. I've got all sorts of seeds that I want to save, basil, things like that. So those are pretty much toast. We do have some lingering flowers for the most part. They're done. This little bed area is pretty much weeds, but we do have dahlias that I never properly staked or moved. One of the things that got away from me this year with our vet woes. They're still producing really pretty flowers. I've been picking these and bringing them inside and putting them in vases. I love these. These are like the Cafe au Lait Supreme dahlias. I can't remember where I got them from, but I'll try and link them in the description if I can find where I got them from. I planted carrots here, and I planted really old seed. Hi, welcome. My hand was out, so he needed a pet. I planted this bed at the same time as I planted that bed. That was different seed. It was a little bit newer, I think. And then this was older seed. You can see that this one didn't sprout very well. But that's okay. We have catnip that needs to be harvested. Dill that's coming back. I will harvest this and just pop it in the freezer or use it fresh. Bok choy that's coming up pretty sparsely. I also need to get some fresh seed for that. We have some leeks in here that this bed just really needs watered. Like I said, we haven't gotten any rain, so everything's a little bit crispy. There's leeks planted all along that side. This guy loves to come in here and lay in the catnip. Huh. All right, I think we're gonna go up this whole side and then back down. I take a different route every time I do a garden tour. As you saw, our carrot bed up here, these things actually did really well, surprisingly, because I did not thin them whatsoever. And we have some big carrots in here. Those need to get harvested soon, but I'm actually gonna hold out a little bit longer, probably a couple more weeks on those, for a couple reasons. The primary one is I want them to get a couple frosts, and I'm hoping we get that frost in the next couple of weeks, and then I can harvest them and store them. They'll be a little bit sweeter if that's the case. We have more dahlias. This is greens that I've been picking and feeding to the birds or just using whenever I need a little bit. I think this is like arugula some spinach in here. We have parsley, and I think I might have planted some cilantro in here. There's a bunch of parsley sprouting in here, and I'm hoping that those will kind of root themselves a little bit before winter, because those usually grow really well through the winter for us. And that's all kind of just mixed in little baby plants in here, which is really nice. I'm excited to have fresh parsley, especially for like Thanksgiving. It'll be really nice to have that, and it should be growing pretty well by then. Whenever we get green onions, I plant them out in the garden, and I just let them be, and I'll pull the greens off of these repeatedly over and over and just use them in the kitchen so I don't have to buy them. This is the first batch since we've moved here that I've successfully got to grow well. For some reason, it's probably the clay. They haven't wanted to grow well here in the past, but our soil is starting to improve over the last few years, and they're starting to do well. Okay, the rest of the beds up here, for the most part, are pepper beds, and I don't even want to pick more peppers. I'm so sick of peppers, you guys. But these are loaded, and they need to be picked again. I'm gonna pick the last batch of them in a couple of days and be done with them. I'm over the peppers for the year. We have plenty for all of our needs. I still have tons that need to be processed into other things. They're preserved in the freezer, but they need to get turned into like sauces, and well, I guess most of the things are sauces. It's just a variety of sauces, really. And then we're gonna do like some smoked ones and whatnot too. You can tell that the days are getting cooler and we're getting less light because they're not ripening as quickly or growing a ton. They're kind of just sitting here. So I'm just gonna pick them. I'm ready to be done with them. I think they're ready to be done. But we still have some good sized ones out here. They're not huge, but they're decent. So we have bells in this bed. We have cubanelles in this bed. My paprika peppers are loaded with unripe peppers, but I feel like I could bring those in and they'll ripen inside okay. We'll see. This bed is mostly jalapenos. I'm good on poppers. I am good on diced peppers, I believe, but I can always dice these for more if I need to, just to use them up. I can pick them, put them in the freezer, let them ripen more, and add them to my stash of jalapenos for chipotle peppers, but we don't have a smoker yet. So we are waiting on that to make chipotle peppers from them, but chipotles are something we use fairly often. So I'm excited for the possibility of that. I have a couple habanero plants here that they got a little bit shaded out this year, and I didn't expect our peppers to do so well. Other peppers shaded them, so they're just starting to ripen the last couple of weeks. So I need to come pick all of these. Taylor wants me to make a homemade version of his favorite habanero hot sauce. It's really just like a cooked hot sauce with onion and habanero. So we're gonna try to do that. Hopefully we can get these ripened. We have some shishitos in here. The rest of that bed is jalapenos. Hey duckies, what are you guys doing? Are you snacking on peppers? I actually think they are snacking on peppers, which is great. This bed is hot peppers of different varieties. This one is obviously a whole bunch of chilies. This is loaded. I'm gonna be making fermented chili hot sauce with all of these and then a ton from the freezer as well. I have a couple other things I'm gonna make with the frozen ones, but with these fresher ones, I am going to do the fermented version. I think we have more jalapenos here. I don't know. This lost its label. I feel like these might be the pimento peppers. I'm really not sure what this is. Pimentos come in different shapes, and this looks like one of the shapes, and I know I grew pimentos, and I know the other ones down there were paprikas. So that's my best guess for these. I have some of those in the freezer too, and I'm going to turn those into like a cream cheese mixture, make homemade pimento cheese, and just pop it in the freezer to pull out whenever we have guests and friends. I have this little kitten following me around. He's just weaving between my legs as I walk around the garden. Just like the habanero plant, this kind of got shaded out and just started to produce and ripen peppers. So we're going to see if we can get those to ripen inside too. And there's not a ton of them. These are cachucha peppers. They are, oh, this one's gross. This is from saved seed from my neighbors. So I call them the holler cachuchas. Then we have poblanos that are actually looking real nice. Oops, I accidentally picked that one. Next year I'm planning to plant more poblanos because we use a lot of those. That's one of the kinds that I wish I had more of. This shrub of plants right here is green chilies. And I use these to make diced green chilies like from a can, but I obviously jar them up and can them. I pressure can them. And it looks like we have a lot more in here that are wanting to be picked. Look at that. That's a sign of a good pepper. So yeah, that's loaded with those. We've got a hot banana pepper plant in here. I don't really love banana peppers, but Taylor does. He likes them on his pizza, and I think I'm going to can more of these than I actually already did. So the rest of these will get canned into small jars, and we have some family members that like these too, so I'll probably gift them those as part of their Christmas present. Okay, this one is more seasoning peppers and mild peppers. We have Jimmy Nardellos in here, which are finally starting to ripen. These plants, I don't know. I like the idea of Jimmy Nardellos, but I feel like the peppers always get gross before they get ripe. So, I don't know. I usually have to pick them when they look like this, because if I let them get too far along, like this is the farthest I've ever seen a pepper get without getting rotten out here. I have a few plants of these giant Marconis. These are seasoning peppers as well. A lot of them aren't ripe either, but again, we can just bring them in, let them ripen inside. And then something I was excited to grow this year is these habanadas. So they're non-spicy habaneros, or less spicy habaneros. And I did 2 plants of these so I can make my own version of the hot sauce Taylor wants and kind of mix them together and mild it out for myself, because your girl's a wimp when it comes to spice. I keep accidentally picking these peppers. Gotta make myself a pile. Don't let me forget that. All right, then we have jalapenos. Actually, these are not jalapenos, so they're less spicy jalapenos. I like to mix these in, again, because I'm a wimp. I have a few of these plants, and they're looking pretty rough at this point. They're ready to be done for the year. Then we have a couple piquino, little beak peppers, piquillo peppers. Give me ideas for these besides pickling. We're going to do maybe some pickled ones. I think we're going to make some sort of pesto with them. Taylor found a recipe for pesto, but we have like gallons of these downstairs, and I don't know what to do with all of them. There's so many. I don't need that many for pesto. More jalapenos in here. We have one last shishito plant and one last bell. These kind of are mixed in because we got these plants for super cheap on discount from the local nursery, and I just had to pop them in wherever I could find space. As you can see, this is our hugelkultur bed, and it's dropped quite a bit this year. It's taken over by ground ivy like everything else. This ground ivy is so relentless. I pick it, I weed this multiple times a year, and it just keeps coming back. We also have wild dewberry plants growing in here. We have lemon balm that needs to be harvested. This is kind of where I've been popping herbs. So there's lemon balm, there's strawberries in here. I have an oregano plant that needs to be harvested. It's looking really nice, actually. I'm excited to get that dried. I have a creeping rosemary plant. It's got flowers on it right now. We have more lemon balm, a lavender plant that's doing really well. And I think that's all for the hugelkultur bed that's actually not weeds right now. Get you a view of the garden from up here. This was our squash patch. And the squash bugs here are relentless. They're horrible. Honestly, talking to neighbors and other local friends, it's almost not even worth it to try and grow most squashes and pumpkins here, because unless you have cover for them and hand pollinate them, the bugs are so bad here. Like, picture how bad you think they are and multiply that by 24. It's horrible. So I'm gonna make some changes this year. I'm gonna try growing the Moscata varieties for next year, but I do already grow some of those and the bugs still go after them really bad. So I'm gonna try it. I might try growing some in the greenhouse and just experiment a little bit. But I tried as a last ditch effort to plant some things in here in these empty spots after the squash bugs killed them, and they're actually growing now. I tried planting later in the year last year and that didn't work, so maybe I should just try planting even later and see if that works. I don't know. These aren't going to get very big before frost, so I'm not sure what I want to do with these, but we might get one summer squash this year. That bed right here is completely taken over by weeds. It was our tomatillos. I also need to think of a better solution for those. Give me ideas, because I like using the tomato cages for them because they get so big. But we have caterpillars that get into them and then all of them are filled with holes and are almost unusable. So I'm just not sure. I don't like to use any sprays or things like that on the garden if I don't have to, but I might try using some sort of BT or something next year. We still got quite a bit of tomatillos that I harvested off of them, but we could have gotten so many more if they weren't just like ravaged by the caterpillars. So I don't know. This bed that's covered up, you guys saw me in the last video. If you watched it, you saw me planting leeks and our little bit of fall garden stuff in here. I'm gonna get this covered with frost cloth soon, but for now it's just insect netting because it's not deep freezing here yet. I have leftover green beans in here. I guess I'll lift this and show you. We have leftover green beans in here that I need to come pick. I just planted leeks in here. They're doing well. And the seedlings we got from the nursery are also doing fairly well. Like everything else, I need to come water this bed. We have some random dahlias from seed in here. Yellow ones. This is cinnamon basil. I think this is actually Tulsi. I will be coming out here when I do my big final harvest and collecting a bunch of basil seeds as well. We have some tomatoes that have been done for a while, but they're trying to come back. So I've just kind of been like hanging them up on here and seeing what happens. A lot of the times I'm just picking them and giving them to the chickens because they're kind of diseased at this point. But they're trying. Look, there's a lot of tomatoes on these plants. Surprisingly, our nasturtiums are coming back like crazy now that the weather has cooled a bit. They love the cold weather, the cool weather before the frost. They're so pretty. All of this basil needs to get harvested for seed, or some of it needs to get harvested for seed. I don't need that much. I love all these nasturtiums. There's so many pretty colors. These red ones. One of my favorite things to grow. They look like lily pads and I love it. Let's make a pit stop to go give the chickens these little tomatoes. You guys want some tomatoes? They love tomatoes. They fight over them. They'll chase each other around. It's really funny. Taylor got the ducks a fresh bath, so they're all swimming over there. Are you happy, duckies? Yep. They get zoomies. So this trellis area is the last area for the main garden, and then I'll poke around and show you some other spots really quick before we go down to the orchard. We still have so many marigolds that I really like. They're so pretty. This is horseradish. It's doing really well. Some of the leaves are starting to die off for the year. So I am gonna dig these up a little bit and harvest some of it and see if the roots grew, like how well the roots grew, and see if I can use some of it. This is where our garlic was. There's actually some garlic that I missed. You can see it's in here. It's sprouting. Oh, these are onions actually. Interesting. I did not plant those. Most of this is weeds. I haven't touched this since I harvested the garlic, to be completely honest with you. And then these are more of the nursery peppers that we got that just needed to get popped somewhere. Jalapenos, that's a good popper pepper. Maybe I will make more poppers. Oh no, I accidentally picked it again. Chilies. This thing's so loaded down that it's falling over. These ones didn't get staked. These are ready to get picked. Got some bells in here. Cilantro that's self-seeded and it keeps coming back, which is exactly what I want to happen. I want my herbs to just do their thing and keep coming back so I don't have to think about them. This whole area is self-seeded cilantro. There's some radishes in here. And this massive, massive marigold plant. I'm gonna harvest some marigolds like I did last year. I made a really pretty fall garland with them. And I think I might try to do that again this year. I don't have as many different colors this year, but I think it's still worth a shot. Okay, this is our last bed down here. It's very, very overgrown with weeds as well. But there's actually a lot of stuff growing in here, like more than any other bed besides the peppers. We've got zinnias that we're growing in here. These are Mexican sunflowers, which the pollinators are obsessed with. They are all over this thing. I'm so glad that I finally got these to grow, and I hope they come back every year. We have more marigolds in here. And then mixed in, you can kind of see they still have some leaves. There's peanuts. And I don't think that they did crazy well, but I know there are some peanuts in here, and my goal with this was to just keep collecting peanuts. Because eventually our plan for the orchard is to do some like hugelkultur berms between the beds, or between the trees. And then I want to plant the peanuts as like a nitrogen fixer, ground cover situation down there. And it's also just like extra food security, and it's something that's really fun to grow that grows really well in our climate here in North Carolina. The next thing over here is, this is all lima beans. They're not quite ready yet. They took way longer than I expected to kind of get going because the deer kept eating them. But we finally are making some progress, and I'm curious if we'll have enough progress before the frost hits too hard. But we have the pods. We're just waiting for them to actually fill out more. That one's well on its way. But Taylor likes the fresh lima beans, so it would be really nice to be able to harvest those and freeze some. This is the second time I've tried to grow them. This is the farthest we've gotten. So we'll call it a win, I think, either way. This very overgrown spot right here with the zinnias, they're hard to see. They've kind of died back and the weeds obviously have taken over. But there are sweet potatoes in here somewhere. You can kind of see the vines a little bit. I need to dig around in here and try and see if they actually produced any potatoes. And honestly, I completely forgot about them until our neighbors came over and told us they harvested theirs. And I was like, oh no, I have sweet potatoes planted too, and I completely forgot that they existed. I should probably check on those. So we'll be harvesting those in the next few days. I picked up my pepper pile. That is the whole main garden. Wanted to show you in the greenhouse really quick. It's a mess in here. It's just storage for all of our extra seed starting stuff right now, and everything's just tossed in here. I'm going to be doing the floor in here soon, which is our countertops that we foraged from our landfill side of the property. And we have gravel over there that's going to go in between. But this bed is going to get filled up, and I'm going to try and grow greens in here for the winter. So maybe I will be able to do a little bit of a fall winter garden tour. We'll see. Fingers crossed we can grow some spinach and kale, maybe some radishes. Maybe I'll try and plant some snap peas in there. We'll see. I've got seeds for all of those things, so I'm excited to test that out this winter. Quickly in the cottage garden, because I want to get down to the orchard, and I know this is already kind of long. This also really needs to be weeded. I didn't get it to give it the attention I wanted to this year with all of Moo's situation. So I'm going to come in here soon and weed this, get it all cleaned up for winter and remulched. But we have Chives starting to come back in here. The ducks ate these down pretty good. Mountain mint, that looks a little sad, but it's actually starting to grow back pretty well. There are mint plants mixed in here. You can see them over there a little bit. I have a bunch of different varieties of them. The ducks like to snack on these too. This looks like a stray tomato plant that I didn't put here, so that's kind of fun. That's gonna probably die with the frost soon. We have irises from our friends Red and Steven. And then look at this. I planted these in last week's video. This is our saffron crocus. I need to come harvest these little saffrons. This one's popping up. It looks like we have one more that's starting to pop through, and hopefully the others are soon to follow. But we've got one so far. They're so pretty. Our figs, I also showed you in last week's video. I need to pick this one. It's ready. I grew a fig, you guys. So freaking cool. Excited to eat that. We've got tons of pineapple sage to harvest over here. Another Mexican sunflower. Our hops plant is starting to die back for the year. It's so funny smelling these because they literally smell like beer. This side, we have a huge pineapple sage thing. This is like almost as tall as me. I know you probably can't tell on camera. That's the one that overwintered, and I'm really hoping it does it again this year. I mulched them well, and I was really surprised to see that it came back. I was excited. We've got dahlias in here. These are so pretty. I love them very, very much, and I want more of this color. This is cinnamon basil. A ton of gomphrena that I'm going to harvest again for seeds, and also I'm going to make garland out of them for Christmas decorations, holiday decorations in general. Red gomphrena tucked in here as well. Again, we're going to get it cleaned up. I promise. I promise you. We've got some daisies in here that are coming back now that the weather has cooled down a bit more. More Mexican sunflowers. The Mexican sunflowers are like actually thriving this year, and it's wonderful. I've tried the last 3 years to grow them. This is the first year it's worked. So again, I think our soil is just improving, which is so cool to see. All right, that's everything up here. So I'm gonna head down to the orchard, and we're gonna chat with Taylor on the orchard progress, because that's more his deal than mine.
All right, yeah, so we'll do a quick orchard tour. It has been kind of a hands-off year down here, which is good. I haven't had to do a lot. I've weeded like twice. Probably should have done more, but we'll get there. These are our bigger peach trees. They're doing pretty good. They got nibbled over their fences a little bit, but it didn't really bother them. We fenced these ones right when we planted them. The big thing is I just really need to weed around these, and that'll be a theme through the whole orchard.
In the garden.
Well, yeah, but our one of our winter projects is we're actually gonna like re-mulch kind of everything down here, like cardboard and mulch everything around the trees. Because a lot of the mulch we put down on the other stuff too is broken down into dirt almost. But yeah, these are doing pretty good. Everything, I have to figure out what I want to use, but we will probably fertilize everything this spring too, which will be a first. I think everything that's in the ground has gotten a pretty good hold. So now it's like feeding and maintenance, and hopefully they'll continue to grow. I will be pruning stuff. These peach trees are already a little taller. Usually you see like open crown for peach trees. These are gonna be kind of hybrid pruned. I will keep the centers open, so kind of any of the little branches right in the middle that are growing straight up will get pruned off. And I'll probably prune stuff back like 6 inches again this year, just so everything is still putting a lot more energy into its trunk and the base of its branches. These little peaches, pretty proud of. These were the Tractor Supply peaches from 2 years ago, right? They came back and they grew really good this year. Best I can tell, these shoots that grew aren't rootstock, and even if they are, they've turned into pretty nice plants. So like they will fruit, we'll get something Hopefully they're what we bought. If not, we'll see how they taste, and they might be animal peaches. But they're nice fruit trees. All of these original like fences I put up, I'm gonna take down when we mulch, and I'm gonna put up wider ones. The apple trees, a couple of those need bigger spaces, and then these two, again, we kind of want them to grow out into a crown more. And right now, especially this one, is kind of getting pinched in by its fence, I think. So yeah, these will get pruned back a little bit, try and encourage that outward growth. And yeah, hopefully they do as good next year as they did this year. We have some full-size pears that are still just sitting here in grow bags. As I clean up more of the tree line this winter, there's gonna be a little pear grove further back down there. The spot for them is already clear, but I might need to drop other trees that, like where they would get planted.
The big ones.
Yep. So these will get planted this winter, early spring. Like I said, the spot's open, it's just not quite ready. This winter, I am also gonna take out these couple little pecans that we left down here. This one in particular, I think is shading out this apple tree. You can see this thing's done a lot of vertical growth and not a lot else. So it's kind of like sending up shoots. It's probably fighting for sun. So again, these will all get pruned back, but hopefully having this tree out of the way, this one will bush out a little more next year, be a little happier. This is the pink lady. Otherwise though, and this one could also be hitting its fence too. So just a couple things we got to fix for next year, but still it put on a lot of growth. Like it seems to be a strong plant. This I think is our Granny Smith. This was one of the like supreme trees when we bought it. So it was already much thicker. It needs a lot of pruning. It's kind of going crazy. It needs a new fence. It's broken and it's a little bit of a mess, but it's a big, strong tree. So we have a sad little grow bag nursery, Snappy Mac. So our Macintosh, still alive, which is cool. I think these got some sort of disease. It looked like fire blight, but it wasn't that aggressive. So I'm really not sure what it was. This is still alive. So I'll cut that back and we'll see what it does. Yeah, all these I'll spray soon. I guess all year, and I've been a little lax on it, I spray them with copper fungicide, and we have like an organic bug spray as well. The fungicide helps rust or, oh, turkey friends. So anyway, yeah, these, a couple of these were pears. I think this is a, oh no, that's an Anjou pear. So one of those, oh, that's a Honeycrisp. Sucks that it died. And then that's another pear, I forget what, but I sprayed them and it looked like they were gonna make it, and then they didn't. But a couple of them, probably just more disease resistant to begin with. Yeah, it's been rough on water this year too, which you can see in our pawpaws that desperately need to be planted. This one is still alive. It just didn't have enough water the last couple of weeks and its leaves died sooner. These will also kind of go down in the lower spot close to the pears. We just need some space to drop other trees before I get them in the ground, but hopefully all this stuff will get in the ground this winter or spring. This is our original Honeycrisp. Yeah, everything looks pretty bad right now. It did fine. I'm gonna stake it so it grows straighter. I was hoping it would straighten out on its own this year, and it didn't do that. So again, you know, it'll get a new fence, it'll get staked straight, fresh mulch, weeds pulled out. This tree, being the closest to the cedars, it originally had the worst rust issues, but this year it was not bad. It was kind of a drier year too. So the rust didn't spread too bad. It's doing good. This elderberry grew a lot this year. Didn't really get snacked on too bad, so we'll
somehow
we'll clean that up and hopefully it's even happier next year. All this will change a lot over the winter. The cedar, well, all of this is gonna come out and a lot more of that. So get rid of some of our rust pressure, hopefully, and just clean it up in general. All these trees back here, this is their first year in the ground, and I think I got them in kind of late too. Probably as late as you would want to in the South before it got like super hot. They did good. Like, they didn't put on a ton of new growth, but they all stayed happy with what they had. This one got eaten by a deer pretty bad right after I planted it, before I did the fence. That's why it has almost no branches, but it had a ton of leaves and it seemed to be strong. So hopefully it starts putting on growth next year. This soil back here is pretty bad. It's just like dry clay. There's not good topsoil back here. So I think mulch and fertilizer will really make these trees happy for next year. These are 4 apple trees. I don't remember the varieties offhand, but these are cider apples mostly. We've got room in the back for 1 or 2 more as I clean up more of the brush. So we will continue planting down this line. These are also all of our semi-dwarf trees. So these will get bigger, they'll live here longer, and hopefully we make cider off of them for years to come. We still have our enormous brush piles. That's, again, hopefully this winter, some combination of me renting a wood chipper. I am gonna probably reach out to our tree trimming business that brings us mulch and see what they would charge us to just come chip this, because I think 2 guys with a big wood chipper could probably clean up all these piles in a day or 2. We'll see. The Hollers offered to help with their wood chipper. Maybe we'll drag them into it as well. The berry patch, this actually looks pretty good. I just weeded this and filmed a little bit of planting our newest blueberry plants. These 2 big ones and then a couple little replacements as well. The deer have left these alone the last couple weeks, so they actually have some nice fresh growth on them. They got mowed down pretty bad early in the year. We did get a handful of blueberries. I think that once we get these protected, I think in 2 years, these plants are gonna be huge and putting on tons of berries. They just really need some safe time to not get chewed on by deer. And I think the rabbits get those little ones over there. That's a big priority this winter. We were hoping to do the whole orchard fence. We'll see if that's a possibility, but at the very least, we're gonna do a deer fence around our berry area here, our berria. Just like for a couple reasons, money-wise and how much work I have to do for the whole perimeter fence. It's like 800 plus feet of, 8 to 10 foot deer fence that we need to put up. It's gonna cost a lot and it's gonna take a while and I still have to cut down a whole bunch of trees for that. So we're gonna use the same stuff around the berries, but it'll kind of just be temporary. And then once we have the whole orchard fence done, we can remove this and it'll just be protected in the orchard. And yeah, since it'll be the same stuff, so we can reuse those materials too, hopefully. Definitely the posts, maybe the netting, we'll just see how it holds up. Blackberries and raspberries did a lot more than we expected them to this year. Also got eaten by deer pretty good. But you can see these plants are like putting on big canes. Pretty happy plants overall. And we didn't really think they would need the trellis wires this year, but some of these could have used them. They're not super filled out, so it's not a big deal if they're laying over. But we will get down here before next spring and put the wires up on these trellises. Yeah, so these are, I think you said primo cane. So yeah, so we'll cut these back. And these also had fruit on them this year. So hopefully next year, their fresh growth will put on some fruit. Again, we got these in the ground a little late, yeah. So hopefully they just do even better next year. And they seem pretty happy overall. Yeah, all these raspberries and I think all of our blackberries, definitely some of them, are the ones we got from Food Forest Nursery, and they did great this year. We didn't really expect them to do a lot, but these plants got big and put on a lot of growth this year, and we were maybe not prepared for that with protecting them. Also, we didn't really show them, but the grapes we got from them too. One of them's a little rough right now. I think the deer finally discovered them, but they did good all year, and I'm not really concerned. I think they'll come back strong next year as well. Yeah, everything in its first year, I think that's why I say we're so surprised here. You kind of just expect it to take hold the first year and not do a lot of above ground growth. That's what I was kind of getting to with those apple trees. Like, they all stayed happy. They didn't put on a ton of growth, but I know being their first year in the ground, they were probably just setting their roots. This is kind of the spot that's getting ready. Where this berm continues is where the pears are gonna go in the ground. We'll space them out from here so they don't shade this out too bad, and plant our handful of pears down here. And then the pawpaws will actually go closer to the current fence line. We just got to clean up some of these trees that are half dead, already fallen over, and I have to be able to cut those and drop them in this spot. So I don't want to drop those big trees on our new fruit trees. But this will all get planted out next year as well. Oh yeah, so I did actually mention this a little bit in my blueberry video. We planted strawberries around all of our blueberry rows and did the weed fabric. And you can see, if we get close up, there's probably 10 strawberry plants out of 200 that made it, but we just stored them for too long. We didn't expect them to ship when they did, and we weren't ready, so we had to store the plants in the fridge, and most of them just didn't make it. We have another round on order that will be here late fall, I think, and we should have time to get those in the ground so they come back strong in the spring. It smells like coffee down here because I fertilized all of these with some free coffee grounds, used coffee grounds. So I actually, the holes that I planted the new berries in, I like dug them extra deep and like mixed in a lot of the grounds to hopefully get some acid on the roots of these things. And then I just spread the extra on the other plants. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. We got the orchard flock, you know, just doing their thing now. They'll be down here for a little while, but we'll move them up to the garden probably before too long. Keep them up there for the winter to scratch up and hopefully eat the remnants of all the squash bugs.
I think that was a pretty thorough overview of everything, the status of everything. It's a little crispy looking right now because it's fall. The leaves are starting to die off of everything. It hasn't rained.
Yeah, it hasn't rained in like a month.
It's actually sprinkling right now.
Yeah.
For the first time in so long. And it's supposed to rain the next few days, which will be really good for everything.
Yeah, I bet if we made this video next weekend, everything would look a lot happier.
Yeah, oh well, that's fine. But yeah, so thank you for joining us. I know this is gonna be a long video, but
it's the end of the year.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we'll see how much longer the garden lasts. We'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm gonna harvest everything in the next couple of days, and yeah, then our 2025 summer garden is done.
Yeah,
it went quick. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.